Hi everyone, and happy holidays to all of you who is watching this session. And we are in amazing times that cosmically is open for all of us, since we just passed the holiday of Rosh Hashanah, the head of the year, planted some seeds. We hopefully removed the judgments, and we're reaching now this weekend of the portion of HAZINU that it's called Shabbat Shuvah. Shuvah is like to come back, to go back and reach into the next step into the 22 days of the high holidays, which called the next step called Yom Kippur. And since we in this time, I felt that it is really important for each one of us to understand what is happening for us in this coming Shabbat, coming Yom Kippur. What are the energies that are waiting for us? How we can draw those energy? How we can connect? And we need to understand that we think, when we think about new beginnings, like all of us, it feels like we just started a new year. So it's a new beginning. And when we think about new beginnings, we think about maybe planting a new seed or new ideas. And in this time that we are in between Rosh Hashanah to Yom Kippur, it says that, I've allowed you, like the Creator is like, I've allowed you that so many things will happen and take place this year, but till Yom Kippur, you have an opportunity to prove that you can and you're willing to change. So this is why this Shabbat, even though the new year, or we planted the seed in the new year, it's the continuation of our spiritual work and digging deep and still go through forgiveness process is still in place, but we have a tremendous amount of help. And this Shabbat is the Shabbat that the death of Moses, and as it says that a person who is living the world, he'll be busy to organize, everything for his family and for his friend, and to make sure that everything, like his business, is in order. And Moses wrote this portion of HAZINU, which is a type of a song. So he wrote this song to all of us. And HAZINU comes from the word listen, but in a different way of listening, because HAZINU comes from the word ozen, which is ear in Hebrew, or izun, which is balance. So there's a lot of questioning about how one's listen to different words, how one's listen to the words coming out from his friends, or if he listens to a lecture or class, or how much he's listening to himself. Okay, how much he's listening to himself and creating for ourselves our balance. And when we speak about the death of Moses, or any death of any righteous person, we know that when a person like this is passing away from the world, he's taking with him so many judgment that is coming into the world. And this is why when Rabbi Shimon decided to leave the world in the eve of Lag BaOmer, basically he reduced the level of the plague that took place at the time of Rabbi Akiva. And when Moses lived in this time, Karen mentioned once that when Moses living in this time that he chose, it's kind of like it says kanfei nesharim. It's like the wings of the eagle. Okay, and eagle is known that, and he considered that he can really takes the food that he carries, like his bites that he has, he puts it on his back, and he doesn't hold it in his hand. Which means in this Shabbat we have two sets of wings: the wings of Moses himself, and the other ones, the wings that in the Idrazuta. So when we talked about Moses and when we talked about Rabbi Shimon, they are basically coming from the same sparks of the soul. And we understand that we are being given right now a gift for this week and for this Shabbat, coming to Yom Kippur. We're given this gift and the ability. The gift is the ability that if we really get out of ourselves, if we really decide to do a thing or manifest thing that and to identify the things that we are able to manifest, that we'll be able to see beyond our desire for the self alone. So we're really receiving this gift to see that. We're really receiving the gift to see our greatness in a much purest way, a much purest way. And as we read this portion of this week, we often will, as I said, we will be able to receive another gift of true listening. And because, sometimes we hear someone but we don't really listen. Sometimes we see something but we're truly not really seeing. So Moses is telling us in this song that he wrote that the purpose for each one of us is to go to this place, to another consciousness, another level of consciousness, to really take it in and to understand that when we speak, to see to whom we're speaking, how we're sharing our words. The Rav wrote to Karen a letter, the first letter that the Rav wrote to Karen, and he says that to Karen that, it's like we need to really pay attention to never speak to a person in a way that they will not be able to understand or hear. So we want to speak to someone else in the same eye level, and to be with empathy towards them, and to really gain the power that I will be able to do that, and to really help to someone else by listening to what they have to say. So this is in general what's coming up to us. And this Shabbat, Shuvah, is the return Shabbat. Like Shuvah is to return, and it's definitely, as I said already, that it's connecting to the process of the tshuva, the repentance that started from Elul, from the month of Virgo, going into Rosh Hashanah and bringing us to Yom Kippur. But of course, I want to go and dive into a deeper understanding. And as we all already know, like in Rosh Hashanah, we receive a new soul, or elevated soul, if I may say. We really tried and have changed, hopefully, everything that is related to us, to desire, to the self alone, like really within us. And the first thing that we are, or the Kabbalists are explaining to us, that when a person does a tshuva me'ahava, a love, repentance out of love, there are different levels of correction that we're going above the negativity that we have done. Okay, so what it means is that when a person corrects himself, the way we have done in Rosh Hashanah, it says, "Zdonot ne'esim lo kezachuyot," which means all the negativity is being transformed into positive attributes. Even the highest or the biggest negative aspect that we have done this year turn itself and transform itself into light. And in this Shabbat, in this specific Shabbat, we are actually manifesting the light of all of our negative actions, and we transform them, we're manifesting them right now, that we're starting to receive the light, or the biggest light that can come out of them. So another gift that we're receiving in this Shabbat with this all energy, of course, is the consciousness. Understanding our consciousness is the seed level for everything. And in this Shabbat, we're starting to receive all the light that is being transformed from all of our negative actions. Isn't it amazing? So this is why it was so important for me to share this with you and share more, because in the process of repentance from Rosh Hashanah and obviously from Elul till now, we really in this process transformed all our negative actions into a positive one. So not just that we really cleaned our negativity, like deep cleaning. Something is even more powerful is taking place this Shabbat, and we are receiving the power to really transform this darkness power into into an enormous amount of power of light. So all of our negative attributes, actions that we have done, changing into such a tremendous and huge, big light. And this is why this Shabbat normally comes before Yom Kippur, because all the changes that we have been spoken about starting to take place or come through, and we only need to manifest them, to take them into manifestation, into action. And how do we know, how do we making sure that this light in our life is being revealed to us? Rav Ashlag is explaining that in the upper world, in the spiritual world, there is a space, there is a kind of a gap between giving a gift and receiving a gift. For example, in the Madar Sinai, in the time of Har Sinai, the time that the Israelite received the technology, the Torah has been revealed, we know that the light in the upper world, or the Or Ein Sof, the infinite light, was revealed, like totally revealed, the light of Bila Mavet Lanetzach, immortality, removal of death from every aspect in our life. And the light in his all greatness has been revealed. But the gift, Rav Ashlag explained, was sent by the Creator, but humanity, that humanity is still in the process of receiving this gift. So in the physical world, when you give a gift to your friend and the friend is taking the gift, is just receiving it automatically. You give and you receive in the physical world, right? But in the spiritual world, gifts is being given to us by the light of the Creator, and the light of the Creator is awakening us with them. But the person, each one of us, needs to go through a process to prepare ourselves to receive this gift. And this is basically the work that we are doing right now, that we are in this process right now, receiving the gifts. So how we can make sure that we are awakening all these changes, all of our changes in this coming Shabbat, and in these days actually, and leading to Yom Kippur. One of the things is based on a sentence or verse that is in this portion, and it is taken from one of the lessons that we have learned from Rav Breinwein, that wrote a letter to Rav Berg, and from the book Yedid Nafshi, Beloved of My Soul. And in one of those letters, Rav Breinwein is revealing a tremendous secret relates to this verse in this portion. And it says that he shares it with a story. And there is a story about Rabbi Elimelech from Lizhensk, a great Kabbalist, and it talks about his son. And Rabbi Elimelech wanted that his son will go and ask from the different Kabbalists, different righteous people that lived at that time, and that he will ask from them and he will learn from them. He will ask and advise, and he will learn from them more and more. So he sent his son in one of the Shabbat, as he was sending him every Shabbat to a different righteous person. He sent him to this Shabbat, one of the Shabbat, he sent him to Rabbi Pinchas Mikuritz. And the son, of course, listened to his father, and he's going to Rabbi Pinchas of Kuritz. And because he's the son of Rabbi Elimelech of Lizhensk, which is a great soul living at that time, he is normally being accepted and received in just a little different kind of not just attitude, but with a great respect. And so forth. But in this particular Shabbat, when he went to Rabbi Pinchas from Kuritz, he wasn't received as he's used to. He was given to sit in the back of the synagogue, and he was separated from the rest of the crowd in the synagogue. And for him, he felt that he's been treated the worst of the worst. He have never experienced that, and he actually experienced for himself that this is the worst Shabbat ever. From the Friday night evening, one thing led to another thing, that he couldn't handle this anymore. He felt like completely secluded, separated, and lonely from the congregation, and definitely didn't have the opportunity to speak with Rabbi Pinchas of Kuritz. So he felt really bad, and even in Seudah Shlishit, the third meal, he was set, like someone took him to sit in the corner, and he really got broken, like a broken heart. And again, for him, he felt that this is the worst Shabbat ever. So as he was sitting there, he was looking up above to the sky, and he is like asking the Creator. He says, Abba, ta'azor li, which means, Father, help me. And then Rabbi Pinchas of Kuritz calling him from the corner like this and says, come over. And as he's coming over and standing next to him, and he tells him, Rabbi Pinchas of Kuritz tells the son of Rabbi Elimelech, how do you know that you have the right to call the Creator Father? How do you know? Maybe your soul is so disconnected or is so low that you think that you can call the Creator Father, Abba? And of course, that was like the last thing that he needed to hear, because it completely broke his heart. And it really became for him the worst Shabbat ever. As soon as the Shabbat was over, he left quickly and he ran home, and he was telling his father, Rabbi Elimelech, what took place in this Shabbat and why it's the worst Shabbat for him. And Rabbi Elimelech told his son, you know, when Rabbi Pinchas asked you, how do you know that you have the right to call the Creator Father, Abba, you should have quote from the verse from this Shabbat. And it says in this portion of HAZINU, it says, Sh'al avicha, which means ask your father. But sh'al in Hebrew is also to borrow, which means if a person doesn't feel or is not ready yet to receive all the blessings and the sustenance that the Creator prepared for him, and he's still like a broken vessel, he still did like negative action in the past, you can still borrow a vessel that is not yours yet, but you can still borrow a vessel, your future vessel, your perfected self vessel. So for all of us, this story, it's related for us, and it's a tool for us, how we can connect through this Shabbat, through these days that we're going through right now for Yom Kippur. And we need to understand the spiritual logic behind borrowing the vessel. And it's something that Michael Berg explained in the past, and I felt that we need to bring it back, because nothing is enough. Nothing is enough. Like even, which means even the couple days of Rosh Hashanah that we create in this new year, but regardless of all the spiritual work that we have done, we still need to make action. We still need to manifest our light. And the secret that we're receiving from this portion is the borrowing of the vessel. We need right now to borrow the vessel in order for us to manifest all the light that we awaken in Rosh Hashanah. So what's the secret of borrowing the vessel? So Rav Breinwein explained the Rav. There is one thing that we all know, and we need to make sure that we understand. There is no doubt that each one of us will receive his perfected or perfection soul, perfected self. Maybe it will take a day, maybe it will take a week, maybe it will take a month, maybe it will take 50 years or 50 lifetimes. But eventually, to each one of us, it's promised to receive the perfected soul of ourself. And in spiritual terms, Rav Ashlag is explaining that there is no time, there is no space, that this is part of our physical world. The reality that where we can receive the perfected self exists right now. So we need to understand that our perfected part, our perfected vessel exists right now. What we need to do is to remove the veils, remove the screens, remove the blindfold, and to go through a process of changing of our consciousness in order to connect to this, to the perfected self, to the part that is perfect, that exists in our life, exists within us. And we need to connect to it, even though we are connecting to it from the imperfection that we have. Why? As Rav Breinwein explained the Rav, there is a concept that it says, En arur midabek bebaruch, which means blessings cannot dwell in a vessel that is not complete. So, and the light of the Creator cannot dwell in a vessel that is not perfect. So what are we doing? Now that we have discovered or revealed tremendous amount of light in Rosh Hashanah, how we bringing about the blessing or manifesting the blessing in our life. So it says to us that there is only one way. Sh'al avicha, borrow the vessel, borrow the perfected self of yours that exists in the upper world, in the spiritual world. You need to have it in your consciousness that I'm ignoring right now the way that I am viewing myself at the moment, because I know it's an illusionary state and it's not the real state of me, of who I am, and the perfected self of myself exists. Maybe it seems like in the future, illusionary, it exists in the future, but in real terms, it exists here and now. And the only way that we can take or manifest the blessings of Rosh Hashanah and the blessings that the Creator have been given me is when I'm starting to see myself as perfect. You cannot think or imagine to reveal the light of Rosh Hashanah to a broken vessel or imperfect vessel. So you need to see yourself as a borrowed one, okay, as a borrowed vessel. And it's true to the situation that we're all of us, or most of us, feel or exist right now, or see the way we see ourselves, that we are not perfect. So how do I know for sure that I will receive perfection without the limitation of time? We understand that it exists already. And this is the place or the situation or the state of mind that I want to connect to right now, okay? And this is the key of how we can manifest the light of Rosh Hashanah, to see myself already as perfect. It doesn't mean that we stop doing the spiritual work, but it means that when I want to bring light to the vessel, my vessel, or to other people's vessel, you connect with your consciousness to the perfected self that already exists here and now. And the only way is also, it's really to understand. En arur midabek bebaruch. The blessing cannot dwell in a broken vessel. You can pray all day. You can share. You can build, right? You can build light, or you create light in a potential, but it cannot exist till you see yourself perfect. Which means, this is what it says in this portion. Sh'al avicha, borrow the vessel. And Rabbi Elimelech sent his son to experience the word Shabbat from one reason only. Because he needed to teach him. He felt that he must teach him that if you also have like the worst Shabbat or the worst moment in your life, unfortunately it happened to us many times, right? And we see ourselves as a broken vessel. Rabbi Elimelech taught his son, the Rav Breinwein passed it along to the Rav, and the Rav passed it to all of us. And this is why we are learning regarding to this Shabbat and saying, I want, I desire, I've done a lot of work, spiritual work for Rosh Hashanah. So why to stop now? Why to stop now? The only way to manifest completely, okay, completely, to each day, the totality of the light that we have created, it's born in a vessel. It's really silly if we think about it. It's really silly that all the light that we have created all the year and in Rosh Hashanah will not take place, will not manifest, and will not be revealed in our life. So, we need to know, like, it's like when we go into the bank and we're asking for a loan from the banker, and he tells me, come tomorrow at 10 a.m. and I'll give you the loan. I will approve the loan and you can take the money. And what we normally do, sometimes we even come at 12:30, we pass in even the time, and the person, and we may even forget, so we forget to go tomorrow, so we go in another day. And you come 4 days later and the banker says, but I told you, you're so weird, I told you to come at 10 a.m. and I'll give you the loan. So, and he tells him, okay, no worry, come tomorrow, we'll work on it. And then the person doesn't show up. And this is where we find ourselves. The bank of the light has been given us everything in Rosh Hashanah and all the light that we need. And he tells us, the Creator tells us, come, take it. And he says, how? With this portion. How? Boro, Sh'al Avicha. Start to see yourself as perfect. Don't look or don't listen to the negative side. Remember, listening. Don't listen to the negative side that tells you, oh, it's not okay, and create more doubts, or it's not good, or you're not perfect. No, the only way that the light will be manifested is Shal Avicha. Today, we all want to reveal the light. In your spiritual work, imagine yourself, perfected soul. Ki enaru midabek bebaruch. There is no negativity, blessing cannot dwell in any of a broken vessel. And you may, in this upcoming year, see yourself imperfect. Okay, but now you need to empower yourself, you need to connect to yourself, to the true vessel, to the perfection that already exists. And this is one of the gifts that we are receiving in this Shabbat, that I really truly felt that to share that with you. And I wanted to share just a little bit about Yom Kippur, connect all of us with the connection of what I just already shared, like right now. And in Yom Kippur, during the prayer, we are saying HaZINU. HaZINU is we made fault, or we sinned, or we are guilty. And normally, also, we've been instructed to have our fist, the right hand fist, gently touching our heart and saying, HaZINU. We made mistake, or we are to blame, or we made the sin. And the Kabbalists are explaining that every time that we are doing a negative action is acting with the desire for the self alone, we are creating a blockage from the light to come through, go with the flow, like to flow through us. And the blockage, and that particular blockage, is being created in this part of the chest that's connected to the realm of Tiferet. And the light that is supposed to come to us, or to go that we should receive, goes through Sfirat Tiferet, goes through the realm of Tiferet. But there is a blockage because we behaved with a desire for the self alone. So every time that we are doing HaZINU, we are removing this blockage, and we are allowing the light to go through the Tiferet, to go through this realm of Tiferet, of the balance. It's the essential column. And this is the reason for the spiritual process that is affected or a part of physical action, because eventually the light, or in the process, that we are doing, the light that is coming from previous lifetime, from previous years, from last year, when we do that, when we want to do the physical action, that the light will flow through us in the most purest way that exists. And when we talk about Yom Kippur or Rosh Hashanah, it just seems that when we speak about Rosh Hashanah, it's like a holiday with slightly lower consciousness than Yom Kippur, slightly. So why this Yom Kippur that is coming up looks so special and unique, and with opportunities that is being given to each one of us in such a unique way to really connect even deeper. And one seems to really appreciate the importance and of our connection that we will do in Yom Kippur. And what is happening in Yom Kippur is where we are invited to go to approach the Kodesh HaKodashim, the Holy of Holiness, to the place where the light exists. And every word and every action needs to be done with the purest and serious way, through our connection, through our meditation, through the prayers, and so forth. And we always think that we should have been better people, and and we should have done that, and we should have behaved even better. But during the connection that we will have in Yom Kippur, the thoughts and the prayers, first of all, needs to go to really pray for others. It says that כל המתפלל לחברו נהנה תחילה. We need to pray for all those people that needs healing and support for many reasons in their life, and to empower them. So this is how we need to start. We need to we really need to understand that this is the beginning of our connection in Yom Kippur, and we need to arrive to this place in very focused purpose, to reach to the Holy of Holies, the Kodesh HaKodashim, to draw the light into our life, as I shared earlier and will share even more. As we know, Rav Ashlag passed away from the world in the morning of Yom Kippur, and therefore I'll continue to give some of the this coming lesson from Yom Kippur. In the portion of Achrei Mot, in verse 9 and 28, it says there that אמר רבי יהודה ויצא למזבח וכיפר עליו. The high priest in their work, and it talks about the high priest in the tabernacle, what they have done. So the high priest in their work, their work was to remove all the negativity that we have created. So whatever the high priest have done in the world of the 1%, this is the same thing happened in the upper worlds, and everything got connected into one. The upper worlds and the lower world connected into one. As we learned in the physical world, there was a high priest, and in the spiritual world, the high priest was the angel Michael. So the angel in Michael in the upper world is really lighting his light and sharing his light on all of us, and it's called the light of Bina, the energy of Bina, the realm of Bina. And if in our spiritual work in Yom Kippur we are connecting and we coming out of Yom Kippur purest, we need to understand that it's come from the work that the high priest has done, and it's to bring the consciousness in every step of the way and awaken. The high priest basically, with his action, awakening the light of mercy, of forgiveness and compassion of Angel Michael. But we have to understand that this light of mercy cannot be awakened if we are not awakened in this world. And in the physical world, it was the job of the high priest. There is no joy or happiness in the upper world and there is no movement in the upper world unless we are doing our job in this world to awaken the angels that will come and help us and support us in this year. So if we'll do the job, I call it the job, if we'll do our spiritual work in this Yom Kippur, the connection, the right connection in Yom Kippur, the way that the high priest did many years ago, so we will give life and movement and awakening to the upper angels. If our spiritual work is not done in Yom Kippur, nothing will happen in the upper world. So it says that the angels are nimtzaim bechil verada. They are like shaking in and with a lot of fear. Why the angels are in a lot of fear? Because they are waiting for us to do our spiritual work, because they know that their livelihood and their happiness all is dependent on the job that we will do, the spiritual work that we will do. So we need to ignite, we need to turn on this world and to awaken in this world. So this is why the Creator is telling us in Yom Kippur, if you would have known how many thousands and thousands of angels are stuck because of us, if you were not going to do your job, if you're not going to do your connection, so the work of the Creator is limited and dependent on the spiritual work and our connection of each one of us in Yom Kippur. And it says that the work of the high priest, v'chiper al hakodesh. And what does it mean? It says that Rabbi Elazar says that all the time that we are creating any sort of negativities and decrees or awakening in the upper world, so what it says is that the upper Bet HaMikdash, the Holy of Holies, is being damaged because of us. And the light of judgment wants to really manifest. And in that day, the high priest, his job is to do the repentance, and we need to allow him to do his job. So it happens only when we hold in the high priest in the upper world, and if we are awakening and we are allowing to the spiritual work to take place, so all the unity in the world, all the connection between the Malchut and Zeir Alpin, all the connection between the upper world and the lower world is taking place. Therefore, we bring in unity. So there is no important work or connection from the connection of Yom Kippur. The high priest with the highest consciousness is entering the Holy of Holies, and again is clearing and cleansing the negativity from the people in the world. And Rav Ashlag is explaining that in each one of us there is Bet HaMikdash, the Holy of Holies exists. And who is the high priest in our generation? Who is the high priest, you think, in our generation? Is our desire to share. In the 13 attributes in the prayers of the holidays, it says one of them is Ki chafetz chesed hu. It's the desire to share part of his mercy. To each one of us, we have this desire. The level of desire that exists in each one of us, it's not even a spark, a glimpse of what it can be. And the question that we want to ask ourselves, reaching Yom Kippur, is, do we all have always the desire to share? Or only when an opportunity comes to me and then, with a free will, I choose to share? Is this called desire to share? Are we running after sharing? Are we running to become chafetz chesed? And the purpose is not to be a spiritual, a good person. The purpose is to become a spiritual person, but to become a spiritual person with a great, great desire of sharing. And the acceptance of the blessings in our life is correlate to the level of desire that we have to share and influence others. And asking and begging the Creator in Yom Kippur that I don't have enough desire to share, it's very important. We need to ask that this desire, that the highest priest within me will increase, not just once a week. So, and we do not understand if we are connected, to the spiritual connection when we that we're going through with our high priest, with our desire to share. We don't know, and we do not understand if it will reach the Holy of Holies. We need to run to look for it. We need to run to have this desire. And we need to request in Yom Kippur that what I want to become or what I want to be is the person that always run and jump to share, not just be in a place of just taking the opportunity, rather to run after creating more opportunities of sharing. So the high priest within me is being revealed in Yom Kippur, and we are asking a different level of consciousness, and a new level of consciousness of becoming Chavtzei Chesed, becoming a desire to share in a much stronger level. And the only reason that our blessing of the light of mercy is blocked, because the light the light within us of mercy is blocked, and the high priest within me is limited. And the reason for it, and this is the reason why the light of the Creator doesn't go and flow and like running within us in its all perfection, because we are blocked. So if our desire is limited, the power of sharing and giving of the Creator is also limited because of us. So we want to look at it in 3 stages. One is to identify where we're at right now. Are we having the desire to share? What is that level of desire to share that we have? Are we running after opportunities, or we create the opportunities to share all the time? We need to understand that we are not in the right place. We need to be aware that we are not in the right place. And the third one is to beg. Is to beg in Yom Kippur is really to beg to have to become Chavtzei Chesed. Okay? We need to understand that the Creator is telling us, do you think my desire is that you will pray or you will fast? What do you think my desire is? The desire of the Creator. The desire of the Creator that each one of us will become like the Creator. That this year will be the different year from what was before, what my previous year was, and to reach to a place where I'm in a newer place of Chafetz Chesed, in a newer place of desire to share and influence. This is what we want to ask from the Creator in this Yom Kippur, and the light is promising us, promising us the blessing and the support that we will receive, that will help us throughout the year. So, just to summarize what I've shared right now, 1 is to connect to the Sh'al Avicha, to borrow a new vessel that exists, to borrow the perfected vessel that exists already here and now, connect to it. And in Yom Kippur is like really to ask to reach to a higher level of Chafetz Chesed, to reach a higher level of desire to share and influence. Okay? There's so many gifts that we're receiving now, and it's so important for each one of us to do our best, to be focused in our consciousness this week, to connect and to draw those gifts, to manifest the light that we already created for each one of us in Rosh Hashanah. And I wish all of us really the best time connecting and doing our spiritual work and manifesting, and and seeing the good, and always seeing the good with others and seeing the good within ourselves. Thank you very much for joining me this evening. I'm happy that you're there, and I'm happy to receive also the emails after every class I'm getting from you, questions or remarks, and it's exciting. I hope to hear from you more. Happy New Year, and that we will all draw the blessing into our life and will become more of Chavtzei Chesed. Thank you very much.